Are you ready?
Starting now?
Oh, now you just messed it up, you knob. God, you know that the shit that we go through for this, huh?
I know. Fuckers better appreciate it. When we started, we were just like, yeah, we're just going to do this, man. You know, shoot our wad into the wind and see what happens. What's the title of this podcast again?
I don't know. I don't know. Something with a penis, I guess.
Right.
Our fucking faces are everywhere now.
Right.
You know, but
You're welcome, ladies.
Right. Popular with the ladies. Right. Oh, I'm not even going to apologize because hopefully it sounds fucking hilarious.
Yeah, totally. This is fucking explicit now.
The explicit button. Let me use my finger.
La, 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 la.
It is time for another episode of Sober, Not Mature. And that episode starts now. All right, everyone. Welcome once again to another episode of Sober, Not Mature. And this time, we can actually say we have a really, really good friend on tonight.
We do.
And our friend Buddy Michael's with us. We've known him, almost as long as Mike and I have known each other. So, Michael, introduce yourself real quick, and then we'll kind of give a little bit of an idea of what we're going to talk about and go from there.
Yeah, Mike, I've known, like Bill said, since pretty much day one.
Yeah.
Yeah. So who are you and where are you from? Give us a quick intro.
Oh, I'm Mike. I'm from Garfield Heights, and that's right now I live in Lorain County with my wife and kids, two beautiful girls.
Yeah, that's part of the entire story. And real quick, before we get too far into this, we happen to be recording on another one of my children's birthdays. So just real quick, happy birthday to my daughter Kimberly. We all call her Kimmy, but today is her birthday, and just by chance we recorded on both my son's birthday and her birthday. No stories. She didn't ruin my lunch or anything like that. No weird stories about when she was born, except for I was freaking out so much when my wife at the time, was in so much pain. The doctor actually made me leave the room with him to get a cup of coffee so I could calm down. And then they slipped her a little bit more pain medication late in the thing, and Kimmy came out purple, and that's my story. So
right, and you were 12 years old.
I was pretty damn close. I was 19.
Wow.
Yeah, because I'm 55 and I have a 36-year-old daughter. So I was a child, which is probably the reason I was fucking freaking out.
Yeah,
right.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Right. Well, go ahead, Mike.
We waited till I was 36 before we had our first one, and I couldn't imagine if I was 19.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I was 19 too when Amber was born, so yeah. We got it out of the way early.
Yeah, it's a thing, but I'll tell you, it was a little bit different when Derek was born, because I was 32 when he was born, so quite a bit different. But we're not here to talk about me and my kids. Although, again, happy birthday, Kimmy, I love you. So, Mike, we don't really have much of a format here, but I'll let the other Mike here kind of explain what we do. I don't know how much you've listened to this before, but all we do is have a conversation. But we have a mild format, right, Mike?
Yeah, slightly. And, I was actually thinking about this earlier today, man. I probably don't even have to do this with Michael because, he's one of us. But, tell your story, tell where you're from, all that good stuff. We hate fucking drunkalogs. I know you do too. We don't care about, how you fucked up, and because we know how to do that. We know how to fuck up our lives and fuck up the lives of everybody around us. We want to hear about the solution. But we do want to hear, there's a lot of people out there listening, or, one or two anyway, that don't know you. So, let them know where you're from, what you're about.
I just, from an early age, I was, a good kid. And the moment seventh grade, when I had any type of responsibility, and that just goes to show that it's drinking isn't the whole problem, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
The responsibility that I had was just going from class to class to class at school, and I couldn't even do that, you know. And from then, you know, my grades just started going down the hill. Started smoking pot and hanging out with different crowds, and yeah, it was just total downhill from there. You know, a total disappointment to my family, and you know, I squeaked by school. When I got out of school, the same thing. You know, just that gave me more time to do whatever. I got fired from job, from job, from job. You know, the same story, and that led me to getting in trouble with the law, and ended up doing some time in prison, and got out of there, and same thing, right back to where I was, right back to where I started. You know, I had a great family, luckily, who supported me until they just couldn't anymore,
Mm-hmm.
and it's just the pain that I put them through is probably my biggest reminder today. Just to see the smile on their face and stuff like that, that they get to hang out with the grandkids and stuff. But
Right.
you know, I ended up homeless. No friends really. And the one friend I did had, I told him one night, I'm like, "You're not going to see me anymore. I'm going to the Keating Center." And you know, I did, and I got there, and I was actually on unemployment, and I got my check that day, and I'm like, I'm not staying here. So I went out. I went out to the car, and I told my mom, like, they don't have a bed. Come back tomorrow. And she's like, okay. So you know, that's just that thinking that we have,
Right.
and
Right. I got some money, man. I can't go in yet.
right, and it wasn't even a lot. It was like $90 or
It doesn't
something.
matter. Fucking $90 is $90,
It'll
man.
get you through the night.
All right, I'm
Right.
30 years old. I have $90 to my name, and but no, but luckily I came back the next day, and they still had that bed, you know, and I walked in. And that's when I seen the both of you, and you know, my life just changed from that day. I was so nervous when I got there
Mm-hmm.
because I've been there before, and it just felt different this time. It was just, you know, it was either do this or don't. And so I mean, I'm quiet naturally, and you know, so I just did my thing and followed directions. I had my job. Everybody in the house gets a job, and I would do my job, and when I was done, I would go help the next person. You know, and I did that just to stay out of my own head, to
Right.
constantly stay busy. Everything that I was told, I did. I didn't deviate from anything because every time in the past, I would always just, you know, fail. I didn't have the tools or anything. And this time I'm like, I'm just going to do whatever I'm told. And I did. And you know, that summer we had a great group of guys.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we really did. We really did. So
Right.
real quick before we go on from there of that summer. So I mean, obviously we know you were in the Keating Center before, but just step back real quick to that point and what was different between when you were in there the first time and when that was versus 2010 when you came in.
Oh, well, I was there. The first time was 2003. I went, and that was on 117th, but at the time it was the Freedom House. And that time I just went there because I was in trouble with the law, if I'm being honest. And,
Right.
you know, I went there for 30 days. And when I got there, all the meetings that I went to were on the west side, and I lived on the east side at the time. And then when I left, I started going to meetings all on the east side. So I just totally like built this little support group that I did for 30 days. And then when I went back to the east side, it was just gone. I was by myself again.
Right.
Mm.
And, you know, I went to a few meetings, and then slowly but surely I would start to be the last one there, sit in the back of the room, first one to leave. And, you know, I thought I was going to be okay because I walked in and I knew people there from school, from growing up and stuff. And it just, I you don't stay with that foundation that you built, and for me, it's just not going to work out.
Right.
And then I ended up in Jones Road, 2006, and this time I actually tried. I got a sponsor. I did what was asked, and as once again another great group of guys, and I was there probably 10 months. And the reason I went back there is, that whole time when I got in trouble the first time, I was on probation, and I never went to see my PO, obviously, during them 3 years because I was not clean.
Mm-hmm.
And I basically stayed there like 10 months. I had a job, and I was doing okay, and I was out on a visit at my parents' house on a Sunday. And on the way back, I got pulled over in Garfield Heights. They took me out of the car at gunpoint and for a probation violation. And that's when they took me to county. And then that's when I got sentenced to 3 years in the penitentiary. And, I was fortunate enough to get into the program there, so I didn't have to do 3 years. It was an in-prison program. So I did intensive drug and alcohol rehabilitation for about 11 months, 12 months. And I got released to CATS. And then from CATS, my parents, my father, saved the day. He's like, hey, you need a job? And I said, yeah. So he got me a job at his place, which I had got fired from 12 years earlier.
Right.
And, but parents, they just love you to death. And, it was good. I met someone and we were dating for a while and everything was good. I was drinking. I wasn't going to meetings, but I was able to drink like a beer here, a beer there, and stop. And then as soon as that relationship ended, it was all worse than it has ever been.
Mm-hmm.
And I was homeless. And it just, my parents didn't want me around. I would sneak in their backyard and sleep all night. Wake up with a sandwich and a glass of milk that my mother put there. And so I was just tired. And I couldn't do it. And I just didn't laying there under the stars. You just think a lot. And I just realized I got to do something different.
Right.
So yeah, that's when I went to the Rock, 2010, July 8th.
Yep.
Yeah, and I'm glad you brought up that. And that's, of course, Mike and I have heard your story a number of times, and we've known you long enough to know probably more than what you've told in front of a podium. But the whole patio thing and the sandwich thing, because at that point you weren't getting along with your dad, right? Your mom would bring out the food and just be like, "You got to get out of here," right? At that
right.
point,
my dad, he couldn't even look at me.
right?
Mm-hmm.
I was like the biggest disappointment in his life. Because my sister, she was born 15 years after I was, and he had her to protect, and I totally understand it, so.
Right. Yeah, but that, I remember hearing that for the first time, and that's powerful, because, getting to that point, and then, and I just thought it was important because I knew you had been, I guess I didn't remember that you had been to the Rock previously or the Freedom House, but I knew about Jones Road, so I learned something new. But and so again, not to interrupt back from when I did, but so that summer, so you did what you were told, you took direction, you helped people out, and that's one of the things that Mike and I have talked about quite a bit because both of us we talked about this, I think, on here, right, Mike? About how determined you were, Michael, when you came in,
Mm-hmm.
and we knew a little bit about your past. We knew you had been there before, type of thing, as far as through the Keating Center. And I just remember you because both Mike and I were house fathers at the time,
Right.
and I remember that. And again, for everyone who doesn't know, the Keating Center, we cleaned like a million fucking times everything.
Oh, shit.
And then literally it's like, okay, that you two people go into the bathroom upstairs, two people downstairs, and this in the kitchen. Everyone did. They had their job. And then once Michael would finish up, he'd always come to us. What else can I do? Where can I help? Almost every day, if I remember correctly. So
Yeah.
that was actually pretty cool. And then I know we told this story before. It might even been when we were talking to Megan, but we were in group one time, and I don't remember what the deal was, but there was whoever the guy was leading the group. Kind of, I don't remember who it was, but didn't really have control of the group. So everyone's just kind of fucking around, literally like hooting and hollering and this and that. And Michael, you stood up and you're like, guys, come on. I'm trying to fucking learn something here or something along those lines. and everyone's just like, oh, but I remember that like it was fucking yesterday, because that just, I don't know. That's a pretty damn good example of where your head was at, that you weren't about fucking around about anything, which is cool,
Mm-hmm.
I felt I couldn't. I didn't have that
Right.
opportunity. And then that brings. I remember the guy's face. I remember, but I can't remember his name.
Right. I don't even remember what the dude looked like. I just remember that he had lost control of that group that day, or maybe all the time. I don't even remember that part.
Right. And I I remember people used to say you got rallied. and and it just, and I understand why nowadays, because I've been through it like 2 times before that. And if you mess around, you're not going to make it,
Right.
So it's just, you can't mess around with it.
Right.
Right. Oh, yeah. I mean, that was, definitely, my impression. I mean, when you came in, it was like, God damn, this fucker's serious, man. Definitely hang around with him because, he was one of the guys that was serious about it. And there were others, obviously, not Bill, but
right. I wasn't. That's true.
I know.
Wasn't. Yeah. No.
I know. Right. But you were still, I don't know. There was something about you, but whatever. Yeah, you certainly, we could tell, but there was potential there with you. Some of those guys, there was, no chance in hell, and you knew that, and you felt bad, and hopefully they'd make it back. But, but Michael was definitely one of the guys that was like, God damn it, I'm fucking serious about this. I've got to do this for myself. I don't want to have my life this way anymore. And that's exactly how I felt too. It's like, fuck, I've been through this before. I fucked around before, and I don't want to live like this anymore. I don't know how the fuck I'm not going to live like this, but I can't. So I'm going to do whatever these fuckers tell me to do.
Right.
Absolutely right. And I felt the same way about you guys when I got there. I'm like, these guys, they're not messing around either.
Right.
And I think that's why we all gravitated toward each other.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. It's funny. We're talking about, I ran into Joe Harrison.
Oh shit. Really?
This weekend, Saturday, I had some time to kill. Chris was doing something, and I was like, I'm going to go to the fucking mall and see if I can buy a shirt. So I'm wandering around. I was walking through, I think it was Nordstrom's, and he was in there buying shoes because he had just gotten a new suit because he was going to a wedding. Yeah. I was like, God damn, we're all fucking adult and shit.
I know.
Laughing. Right.
Right.
Well, like you said, Mike, I know for a fact that I'm sure it was pretty clear that, I was angry, I was pissed off, I was all those things. By the time you got there, Michael, in July, I mean, I was only, a few months into this thing, and still not, I was going with the flow. That's the only way I can put it. I was just following the crowd and doing what everyone was doing. And the thing of it is that, like you guys say, you knew better and you knew what you had to do. I didn't know any better. Maybe that's what saved me with some of the fucking God shit, because I didn't know enough to hate God like a lot of people did. And when it came to things that I wasn't supposed to do, I didn't know any better. I figured out really quickly that if shit didn't get done, we had to do it again, and I didn't want to do that. And if shit went really bad, then we got shut down. That was at least a rumor at the time before it happened. So I just shut my mouth and followed along with people. That's all that I did. I just didn't know any better.
Right. I mean, I wasn't calling anybody a rational prick.
Yeah. Did we ever actually, Mike? Did we actually ever tell that story? I don't even remember if we've ever.
I think we did pretty early on.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah,
because that was our other buddy Joe was out there banging his baby mama, and he got caught, and we got shut down. Oh, that's right, because that's the weekend that my son came into town, and I was supposed to go on a visit and tell him everything that was happening with me and all that sort of thing. But Yeah, but you're right. I mean, when you started saying it, I mean, as far as the group of guys that we had, and and you know, Joe Harrison, and then there was all these different people. The other Joe, why can't I Lang,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Langatang. Who used to call him Joe Langatang? I thought that was kind of funny. I can't remember who.
Couldn't tell you, man.
Mm-mm.
Yeah,
Some knucklehead,
right.
but right.
Right.
But yeah, there was obviously, us, and then Frankie was there during that time frame, and Wes, and the Joes, and all these other people, and I mean, it was just, it was a good group, just a good solid group of people, and.
Mhm.
And I remember even Marty saying that when we all got over to the 3/4 house, and he told us a couple of times, he's like, I don't have to worry about you guys. You guys are going to get it. You guys are going to get shit done, which was weird because I mean,
Mhm.
none of us were that sober at the time we went over there. I mean,
No.
we hadn't drank in a little while, but I mean, we weren't completely
Right.
fixed, or anything like
Oh
that.
hell
And,
no.
you
I'm
know,
still not fixed.
Yeah, right.
right.
Thank you.
Right. You didn't see me. We do air quotes every once in a while, Michael. So that was, I apologize. Usually I say those by air quotes fixed, but yeah.
Gotcha.
But yeah, I mean, it was funny. The only other thing that I remember about you, and again, because you ended up being a house father, right, Michael?
I did, yeah. That's when everybody
That's what I,
started saying that you got rallied.
oh,
Because, well, yeah, I just wanted everybody to succeed. I wanted everybody to
Sure.
live.
right. Well, and that's the other thing too. And Mike and I have talked about that on here. There was do you remember hearing that, Michael? Is that, if you were a house father, that there was no way you're going to stay sober? Do you remember hearing all that bullshit?
Hmm.
I don't.
Really?
Oh yeah, that was especially the older guys at Who Do You Know and stuff. And yeah, they were like, they make you a house father, man, you're gonna fucking relapse. And I mean, I'm sure part of it because that was kind of what they did was, tell you can't do something and fuck you, I'll show you.
Right.
Yeah.
And but it was, I mean, for a while there, especially when we first got there, guys that were house fathers, man, they went out. And it was like, fuck, that's
Yeah.
no, thank you.
Right.
Right. Well, they did, but I mean, that's for 60 days or whatever. There's no stress. You have no stress
Mhm.
there. And then 60, 90 days in, you get this house job, which is responsibility. And it's like, whoa.
Mhm.
Right. Yeah, and with that, I mean, you're basically on call from 7 in the morning until lights out at 11 o'clock at night, and
Mhm.
yeah, it was a long day and it was a lot, But who was that? Oh, that was Adam that took the keys. Mike, you remember that when
Mm.
Adam took the keys up to
Yeah.
the shell, and then Marty comes back with some. He goes to pick up some sort of food shit, and he wants to put it in that whole that locked door area. What was that
Right.
cooler area? And he's like, keys or whatever. So we're like, oh yeah, hang on 1 second. Adam's got him. And we're looking for Adam. And we see him walking down the parking lot. Adam, get your fucking ass over here, man.
Yeah.
Because it's, and again, for everyone out there that's listening, that we had keys to all these different things in the building, and one of us, it was usually three house fathers, at least two, if not three. And there was one person that always hung on to the keys. If you're going someplace, hand the keys off. So there was always somebody
Mhm.
on premises with keys. So that would have been, Marty would have just fucking lost it.
Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah, but we covered and hang on a sec, Marty. They're right over here. Let me go
Right.
grab them.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then it's like trying to distract him for a minute when he's like 7 steps ahead of whatever he's doing at that moment. But yeah, I mean, it was a good time. I mean, it's as Marty had said, the 90 days or 6 months or whatever it is, whatever the time frame is, the
Mhm.
best time that you'll never want to repeat, and
Absolutely.
we brought that up a couple of times on here, and that's a fact. I mean, we had a really good time. We had a good group of people. Saw a lot of people come in and out. Saw people relapse. Saw people, die. I mean, which is not fun.
Mhm.
But
No, it's not.
so there was all the good times that we had, but then dealing with all that shit just early on in recovery. It's and I had never been around any of that before, so some of it was just like, holy fuck. Just mind blowing.
Well, it's everything changed from 2003 to 2010. It was just a totally different spectrum of why people are there and
Mhm.
what they're doing, and then people started dying, and it's heartbreaking.
Well, and I think I don't want to say everyone, but you got to figure 80
Well,
percent
yeah.
80% of the people that came in there had tried heroin. I would think there was a lot more people coming in that were probably more drug related than alcohol related. Certainly during that time going forward, I would think, right?
Oh, I would think so. And, that's the out of everything. That's the only thing I never tried. I was scared to death. I knew I would love it.
Right,
Mhm.
With the way I was, and I'm just like, man, thank God, thank God.
right. Well, and I just got lucky. I mean, we've talked about it plenty, and Michael. I mean, I've never done any drugs at all, but I think
Right,
had
right.
I would have enjoyed the fuck out of them. I know I would have, and sooner or later, it was that's a definite one of my yets that I hope to never experience because whether it would have been pills that led to or pills that were or whatever it was, I'm sure that if I would have done any fucking drug, I would have fucking loved it, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So, but
Yeah, they're fun.
yeah.
They are, but
Yeah, and then they're not.
they're
Right.
not.
Right. I mean, and I'm totally grateful that I'm so fucking lazy, man, because being a drug addict is really fucking hard work. And, I mean, I got to the point where it was like I couldn't do it anymore. Of course, I couldn't stop getting loaded. So I just drank, because it was way easier to go to the corner and get what I needed cheap and legally. So I'm grateful for my laziness when it comes to that. Because, I mean, yeah, at the end of my heroin use, I was like seriously considering getting a gun and knocking over stores and shit. I was like, that's not a bad idea. No, that's a bad fucking idea.
It is. And,
Yeah.
And now you mentioned that, that brings me that's one of the reasons why I was so scared is because, before I would go out and I would steal from people,
Mm-hmm.
when I was coming down from a high. And this time it was like, I need to get high and I'd be stone cold sober and I'd be trying to figure out who I could rip off.
Right.
And I'm like, what am I turning into,
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah. No fucking choice, man.
No.
Yeah, it sucks. I say it a million times, man. I enjoy the freedom today.
Right.
I am not a slave to any of that shit, and I am so happy. But I also got to remember that I got to do this stuff every day. Otherwise, I will be that slave again
Right.
in a heartbeat.
So that's a question for you, Michael, because I mean, Mike and I always talk about the routine that we have, and a lot of what we do, almost to a T of what we do today, was what we did and started doing in the Keating Center. So, just for everyone else, because I mean, routines are a big thing we talk about. What's your daily routine like, specifically in the morning or at night? Your kind of like your sobriety thing that you do.
Well, I mean, I'll get up in the morning and I start work at 6. My work schedule, I got all this stuff going on right now, so things have changed a little bit. But I mean, I get up and I'll say my little prayers, and then I'm out the door to work at 4:30 in the morning, and then I work, and depending on what time I work to, I either got to leave work and go to school. I don't get home till 9 o'clock. But I go to, as far as daily, I mean, I pray. I always do the dishes. That's my thing, and at night before I go to bed, I pray. My sponsor texts me every day. I do not respond back every day. I probably should start, but and I try to hit my home group every day or every week, which reminds me, I told him I wouldn't be there tonight, and he said, well, make sure you remind them how important your home group is.
Yeah, you're the second one we pulled out of that. Your wife we pulled out of that the one night.
Right. Well, I think he was more upset because I told him I couldn't go golfing on Sunday, but yeah.
I'm just going to take a shot in the dark here. We're talking about Al, right?
Oh, 100%.
I do that too.
But yeah, it's just, I mean, I just do the same little things every day.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, I don't hit many meetings as I used to. I got I got 2 girls.
Mm-hmm.
I got work. I got school. These girls, they pretty much take up all of our lives.
But
And
they're cute as hell though. So
well, most of the time.
most of the time, yeah, I know,
Yeah.
I know.
In public, definitely.
Right. But
So
yeah, I mean that's it, and I figured you would say something like that, but I think it's just that once again, Mike and I talk about that a lot, and both of us have had. It's been a long time since I've had a sponsee, but Mike's dealing with one now. I know he's dealt with one, a couple more over the years, and
Maybe.
right. But
No, seriously,
oh, really?
maybe.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Haven't heard from him in about a week.
Oh, okay. Well, which again is never a good sign, and
Nope.
that's a thing that
it's not.
yet another thing we talk about on here a lot is that we don't chase sponsees. If you don't hear from them, we always think the worst, which is terrible, but it is what it is. It's usually what happens if one of us, quote unquote, disappears or stops getting in touch with us. It's usually not a good thing,
No.
Right.
But I don't know, just some of these little things that I've asked people to do, and that Mike has asked people to do, and I'm sure I know, Michael, people that you've asked to sponsor or sponsored have asked to do, whether it's praying or I mean, Mike and I still read the 24-hour book every day. I read a couple other things too, but it's this thing every single day, and Mike just said it a few minutes ago. All the things that we've been through, all the shit that we did, and the yets and all that stuff. If we stop doing these things, I don't think any one of us has the illusion that we'll be okay if we stop doing these things, right?
No, not at all. It's I just no.
Right.
Right.
Exactly. It's just that you almost can't even think about that, right? It's unfathomable.
Oh, I couldn't even imagine.
Right.
Right.
I mean, there's like the praying. I've done it ever since day one.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Well, maybe not day one, maybe like 3 days in
Mm-hmm.
but it's just, I always have to have that conscious contact with, and because I mean, I haven't done this on my own at all.
Right.
I mean, like I said in the beginning, I've done what everybody's told me to do.
Mm-hmm.
Not one time did I say, I'm going to go do this. And it turned out okay in my life.
Left to our own devices, right? I think we've heard that before.
Oh, absolutely. Well, yeah, the first step, man, second part of the first step, our lives are unmanageable. I say it all the time. My life's still fucking unmanageable. I don't manage my own life. I let these principles and this program and the suggestions and whatever, that's what manages my life. My way doesn't fucking work at all. Yeah. So, right. We let these things manage our lives for us, and our lives turn out to be pretty fucking good.
Right.
Oh, 100%. And just because I don't do like a lot of the things I used to, I still have a daily life, and I do not deviate from that at all.
Right.
Right.
I go to the same place to get coffee in the morning. It's just everything it's structured, and it just helps.
Right.
Absolutely. Right. Yeah. Well, yeah, we're going to go wander off on our own somewhere. We know what happens then.
Right.
It's not good. Right.
I mean, I'm at home at 10 o'clock. Rarely am I out after that. It's just
right.
There's nothing good for me out there after 10 o'clock.
Absolutely.
What's funny is I don't even know if I know Mike heard this before, but when I was living in Germantown, every Saturday I'd go pick up my son, we go have lunch, and then I go do my grocery shopping. And I do the same, kind of like you said, same coffee shop, whatever, but I had the same pattern. And Derek and I would always take about the same amount of time to eat, that I did the same little run of my shopping. And the only way I realized that I was doing it literally on time every weekend, I walked into the grocery store the one time, and I always go back to the deli and get some of the meat department. That's where I get like chicken or burgers or whatever. And I walked up, and this lady that always had waited on me came out, and she's like, "Oh, it must be 2:00 already." And I said, "What are you talking about?" She's like, "You're here at like, a little bit before 2 or a little bit after 2 every Saturday." And I looked at my phone, and it was like 2:04 or something like that. And then I started paying attention, and I remember I posted on Facebook, kind of making a joke. I'm like, if anyone wants to kill me or set a sniper out on me. I'm like, you can find me apparently every week at 2 o'clock at Pick and Save in Germantown. I'm like, yeah, I'm not not very hard to find. I didn't realize how structured I was, but in the morning and stuff like that, even to this day, I know when I get up, I do the same thing. I get up, I go to the bathroom, I make my coffee, brush my teeth, put my contacts in, sit down, do my readings, do all these different things, and I'm done pretty much every single day with that whole process at the same time. I mean, within a matter of minutes,
Yeah, me too.
And I'm talking about usually a 5-minute window. And the only thing there'll be a 5-minute window is if, I don't know, if I just rustled around a little bit or had spilled my coffee or spent a couple extra minutes on Facebook or something like that or Instagram. But it's so structured. It's weird, but it's a good weird, I think,
Well, it's weird for us, but I mean, it's a great example. We've become so fucking reliable that strangers can count on us, which is really fucking weird because nobody can fucking count on us.
Right. Well, when we went to dinner a couple of weeks ago for Kathy's birthday and the little surprise thing and whatever, and her friend Karen, who I've now known for years, and we were sitting down shooting the shit before Kathy got there, and I don't even remember what we were talking about, but she's like, oh shit, you're supposed to be having pizza, and then her friend Cheryl's like, yes, oh shit, that's tonight's pizza night. So these are two of Kathy's friends who I've also known for years, but even those individuals that I've known for a while, but everyone fucking knows I eat pizza on Friday night. Everyone knows, all these different things. And it's just, again, weird in a way, but like you said, yeah, just random fucking people now know our schedules. It's not a bad thing,
But it's a great example that's how we are successful at this thing. We are consistent. We're reliable. It's fucking amazing, man.
Right.
Yeah. Someone could actually call us up and be like, hey, can you do this on this day? I'm like, yeah. And then you show up.
Right.
I mean, it's ungodly. Right. It's like,
right.
What do you mean I'm going to show up?
Right.
Yeah. It's tough sometimes because Mike and I always talk about that, our first reaction in our head is somebody's like, can you help me or do you want to help me? No, I really don't want to, but
no,
I'm going to be there. I'll be there though.
But I will show up because they said show up.
Right. Yeah. And I don't say that to people. I'm like, no, I don't want to do it, but I'll be there. But in my head, I'm like,
but you want to though.
I'm like, I don't want to fucking do this. I don't want to fucking do this.
Right.
I just don't.
It's the first voice in my head every fucking time. Hell no, I don't want to do that.
What time?
Right. Thank you.
You're like, well, that's every once in a while. I mean, I think technology is great, but I think technology can also be a pain in the ass. But thank God for texting and thank God for emails because that gives me, in a lot of cases, my time to pause. When I get a text like, blah, 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 this, do you want to be here? I'm like, fuck me. And then, sure, what time?
Right. They don't know if I've seen this yet. I could wait a little bit.
Right. Yeah, and that's the beauty of having an Android phone because we don't have bubbles that pop up when we're sitting there just staring at a text going, fuck, I don't want to answer this.
Right.
But
I thought you were going to say because text and email because you didn't have to talk to somebody all the time.
Well, you know what?
Yeah, that helps too.
I was going to say, yeah, that helps too. There's certain people that, and everyone knows it with me too. I guess that's the other thing is that people out that I'll answer the phone for without even a question. If Mike calls me, I'd always pick up the phone. My kids, of course. Kathy knows that. It's like over the years, nothing against her, but sometimes I don't want to get into an hour-long conversation, and she knows it. Our mom, I would usually answer the phone, but the same deal, because I know that either one of them is going to leave a message if they need me to call them back, and there's very few other people. Now, Michael, if you out of the blue, if my phone rang and it was you, I'd pick it up because you and I don't talk on the phone very often. Or if Megan or any of our Cleveland friends called me out of the blue like that, text, different story. But, so we'll text back and forth. But if I get a phone call from anyone, you bet your ass I'd pick it up because that would be out of the ordinary, and I'm not going to be like, fucking Michael, Jesus Christ.
Well, I would.
Well, I might then go, hey, Michael, how are you? Hi there.
Right. Well, this week you might not have answered.
Yeah, you never know. You never know.
Well, you're like, oh, he's canceling Friday.
Right.
I ain't answering that.
No, I wasn't worried about that because you see that I knew well enough with that. I never worried about any of. I don't want to say all of our guests, but every one of our other guests who we don't know very well. There's always a question mark because we don't know them very well. Some of the people that have been on, we've met through Instagram and through this podcast and things like that. So we've gotten to know them. But anyone we've had, now you, Megan, Tony, Angel. Who else did we have?
Mara,
Melissa. We
Heidi.
didn't have Mara yet.
Oh yeah, that's right. We haven't. She's just top of mind because we're going to be dealing with her all next weekend.
But yeah, we had Melissa and Heidi. None of those. I mean, none of you guys. I ever even thought for a second that you wouldn't show up. Because I knew you would. You committed to it. So
absolutely.
But anyhow, actually, considering what do you think, Mike? Considering the time, shall we take a little break?
You know what? Let's take a little break, and we'll be back with more from the Keating Boys right after this word from our sponsor.
Hey everyone, it's your friends at Sober Not Mature.
Hi there.
Yes, it's both of your friends this time. Hi Mike, how are you?
I'm well. How are you, Bill?
I am doing well, but we do have a purpose. We actually usually talk about our one website, but we actually have two websites now. So two websites in one. All right, so everyone knows we still have the podcast website that is www.SoberNotMature.com. And we just launched the store website, so we also have that. Do you know what the website address is on that one, Mike?
Of course I don't.
It's pretty easy, Mike. It's www.SoberNotMatureShop.com. But from the podcast website, you can still hit the store link and get into the web store, or you can access it from our Instagram page through the highlights. We've been posting quite a bit about it, and we'll continue to do that. But do you know what's on the second website, Mike?
Well, there's a store. There are products that you can purchase for you and your loved ones.
Well, Mike, do we still have merchandise?
We have merchandise. Well, we got T-shirts and coffee mugs and all kinds of crap.
And one of the coolest parts, we also do have all the recovery books from Hazelden, which is kind of a big deal.
That is a big deal.
At least for us. So all the books that we read, God Grant Me, 24 Hours, the Big Book, the 12 and 12, all of those books are available for sale on our website. And again, that store website is www.sober.
Trying to help, man.
I know you are. You're not helping, though. Okay, now I got to say www.SoberNotMatureShop.com. .com. Visit that today, or visit the podcast website, which is, again, the podcast website. So
www.SoberNotMature.com.
Did you just say sober but not mature?
Yeah, sure. Write that down.
Yeah, like fucking mush mouth or something. All right, everyone. You've suffered enough with this, and we'll get back to what we were talking about previously. So visit the websites, though. All right, everyone. Welcome back to the Keating Boys. Everybody remind me of the fucking Hardy Boys.
Right.
Nobody knows what that is anymore. Nobody fucking knows what that is. All right.
Oh, I was starting to laugh when you said that.
I know.
You guys told me to be quiet.
Right. Shit. Kind of why I do it.
Right.
Well, and here's the other thing too, is that we don't edit anything. So there's been times when Mike has stumbled into that break, I've stumbled into an opening, he's stumbled at the end. All we do is we fucking laugh and laugh at each other, and then we start over, and then we don't edit it. We don't edit a fucking thing. So, but all right. So we got through the summer, house father-ish. When did your wife jump on you? Because that's she chased you, if I remember.
She did.
I know she did. I know. She
did. They told me they're like no relationships for years. What they say,
right?
And so I was trying to follow that rule, but my sobriety day, I got there in July, and in June of 2011, the following year, they had the 50-50 raffle, and she was there, And it was like 30 days before, and I never met her. I've seen she was actually a member of my home group, and I've seen her there, but I'm shy and all that, and so wasn't going to say nothing. And then her cousin was actually there at the time, and he's just come up and was like, "Hey, my cousin over there, I'm fucking you all day." So I'm like, really? So the next Friday, this was probably on a Sunday. So that next Friday at our home group, I was there an hour early waiting.
Good for you.
I was gonna say, just like any good American male would do. Why the fuck? I'd get there 2 hours early just in case.
Right. And so yeah, I went up to her. I got the nerve and went up to her, and like I said, this was 30 days before I would have had a year, almost 30 days, but I was like, you know what? I like her, and I want to get to know her, and so we went on our first date, and this is when we were all living together at Cecilia.
Right.
And I had that old beat up, rusted up truck, and I went and picked her up because she was at the G Marie house. So I couldn't pick her up from there.
Right.
So,
hi, Katie.
Right, 30 years old. We're sneaking around, and so I pulled up in this beat up truck at the library, and she's like, "Oh my goodness, you got a truck!" And I'm like, I was like, "What? You seen this truck? Hopefully, I don't run over any puddles. So you're gonna be wet."
I do
But I
remember
was
that
nervous.
the floor on that, it had holes in the floor, didn't it?
It was horrible. Yeah, but it was given to me, as a gift because of a family friend, and they're like, you know what, you're gonna need a car. You're doing good. You're starting work, but
Right.
so we go on this date. I was so nervous, and I stopped at green lights, and I was running red lights, and it was just, and then we went to I took her to Mally's in Lakewood.
Huh.
And her friends at the G Marie, it was like, don't get anything you're gonna spill everywhere. And so she got a malt, and we're driving to Lakewood Park. We're gonna go watch the sunset, and she's poked a hole in the side of the cup with her straw, and it was leaking all over the place inside the truck. But yeah, and ever since then, I'm like, wow, she's amazing. And I'd never got good reception at Cecilia. I'd go out on a porch, talk to her every night, and she's been probably my biggest help in all this.
Right.
Doing this with somebody, and which ended up working. I mean, when Cecilia House, they shut it down, and this was like at the end of August. And I'm like, well, what the heck am I going to do? And she had just got an apartment, and she's like, well, why don't we just move in together? And we did. And probably within like a week, I knew I wanted to marry her.
Nice.
And it was just we had a really good time, and it'll be 6 days, it'll be 10 years.
Right.
I know.
Yeah, which is crazy. Well, and when we were when we finally, kind of, I guess, cornered you at the clam bake, and because we had talked to you about coming on here, that was almost a year ago. I think we were trying to get you on here, and I knew you were busy and all that stuff, and then getting through the summer, but that I was giving you certain dates because I'm like, either tonight, obviously the 10th or the 16th, and you're like, nope, that's my anniversary. I'm going to be out of town. I'm like, I thought it was the 13th, so I was almost like arguing with you about your anniversary, which I wasn't. It just I had it in my head. I don't know why the 13th I had in my head, but probably you got married in 2013, but
right.
That was. Had you ever been to a sober wedding before that, Mike? Before that one?
No, I don't think so.
I never had been.
I haven't.
Yeah, which was.
I didn't even want to go.
Right.
I mean,
so
yeah, I've never been.
Now, to begin with, and maybe you tell how it was set up. So that was there ever a question that your wedding was going to be alcohol free, or was it a plan for alcohol, or how did that whole thing come up?
Um, it, we just, I mean, we don't drink.
Right.
If you're going to be there for us, or you're not going to come.
Right.
I mean, I'm not. Yeah, I'm just. It is what it is. If you're not going to come there to support the love that we have for each other, then because there's not alcohol there, then I don't want you there anyways.
Right.
Right.
And it is sad because there's actually a bunch. I mean, not because of that day,
Mm.
but in my life, there's like family members that I don't talk to anymore because they've told me like, hey, like in my early sobriety, if you come here, we're going to be drinking, so it's up to you. And I'm like, well, if you can't take 2 hours out of your day for me to come visit and not drink, this early in my sobriety, then you know what? I'm not going to come.
Right.
Right.
I mean, and now it wouldn't bother me if I was around them, but back then I wasn't taking that chance.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and I mean, at that time too. I mean, I'll say I got, not even lucky. Just I was fortunate enough, and then obviously Mike, became fortunate enough when just he got kind of wrapped into our whole family. Is that
Mm-hmm.
I mean, everyone was probably more respectful than they needed to be in that early time, which is cool. We
Mhm.
talked about that the first Thanksgiving, my mom and my uncle decided to do it alcohol free. Christmas, I said, you guys just do what you do. I'm cool, and had a plan and whatever it was. And now even at family events, I mean, I've never been to a family event, and we have never been at a family event where
Mm-hmm.
anyone's gotten, stupid drunk to a rude point, and I don't even
Right.
think people have overdone it. Jody and James's
Mm-mm.
wedding, I think people were drinking, but nobody got stupid. It was a wedding. They were drinking. It was cool. It was
Mhm.
fine. But the thing of it is that people were just respectful of it, and I think that makes a huge difference, especially in early sobriety, is just give somebody the choice. And like you said, Michael, I mean, somebody can't just lay off it for a couple of minutes while you're there or whatever, especially at that time. I mean, it kind of says something.
Yeah, and I mean, we ended up. I mean, there was going to be a majority of people there were in AA anyways.
Right.
Right.
So I mean, I wasn't going to try to put them at risk either.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So you know what? We'll just do coffee.
Yeah.
So we found that poor guy. We found
Yeah.
found-
I remember that poor son of a bitch.
Oh,
he never did another one again.
I remember
Right.
I remember you
Yeah.
saying that. So that dude, and just for everyone else, it was and maybe my memory's wrong, but it reminded me of like a popcorn or a hot dog cart, right? Longer, oversized maybe, but it was that type of setup that the guy
Yeah.
had. It was like a mobile, little roll around coffee shop, and I think he had 4 or 5 different options, and there weren't many.
Right.
So he's going into it trying to make it easy on himself. But you've got, how many people were at your wedding? I mean, do you remember?
Oh, there was probably 110, maybe, I think.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sounds about right.
And probably 80 of them were alcoholics.
Right. That were drinking coffee.
Oh,
Yep.
yeah, there was a line, and no shit, everyone. There was a line for coffee like you'd see at a beer line at any event you'd ever go at.
Yep.
That's what it was. And this guy he had a French press, so he's making each individual cup, which that was mistake number one. Wait, maybe mistake
Yep.
number two. But and then so we go up there, and I'm looking. I'm like, I think I got a regular cup of coffee. And I'm like, I had never had an espresso before, so I'm like, I'm gonna try an espresso. So I try it, and I'm like, well, this is kind of disappointing. Just a little fucking cup of coffee. I took a drink of it. I'm like, holy motherfucker. So I'm sitting over there. I poured my other cup. I'm cutting it with water. I had two espressos that night, and I was fucking wired. And I mean, I'm not like some fucking coffee amateur, man, but that shit fucking, oh,
Right.
it killed me. But
But-
it was so much fun. It was so much fun.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I was glad you guys were able to be a part of it for sure.
Oh yeah, it was great. Well, I mean, and we actually told it on here before, and I used to use it in group all the time. In your vows, Michael, you vowed to make your bed, to make the marital bed every day. Those were in your vows, man. And we were sitting there in the pews, and Bill and I looked at each other and just smiled our asses off because we knew what that was about, man. It was
Right.
beautiful.
Yeah.
Right. And most of the times she's why get up before her and I leave? But if there's ever a time where, you know, I'm home and she's not, then I'd make that bed.
Yep.
Right. Well, and Mike had talked about it before. I mean, well, you can tell the story, Mike. You were in a truck for years after you got sober, and you had a bed in there, right?
Right. Yeah. There was a bunk in the back that no one ever saw, and that bunk was made every day before I climbed up to the front of that truck to drive it and put my ass in that seat. That bunk in the back was made because it was, you know, again, routine. You know, and I mean, I'm home now every night, and trust me, I don't leave the house without the bed being made. It just doesn't happen.
Right. Yeah, and I mean, I lived alone for years. There was nobody in the fucking world that would tell me either to do my dishes or put away my shit, or, you know, make my bed or do my readings. But I made my bed every day. I have never missed it, unless I, you know, am washing the sheets in the morning. Then I've done this before. I've actually made the bed. I'm like, I think I got to wash the sheets and have to fucking rip everything off.
Unmade the bed.
But I made the bed first, you know. So
right.
But yeah, you're the wedding itself, and I remember that. I know both Mike and I were sitting there, and I know he'll admit it too, just getting all fucking choked up with both of you guys up there, because that priest, if I remember, was talking, you know, a little bit about, you know, it was church stuff and then it was recovery stuff, and I remember it being very intertwined in there, and it was just beautiful. It was a great service. It really was.
Well, thank you, and that's why we went with him, because we felt. I mean, we felt like we could tell that guy anything, and he knew our own stories.
Right.
And yeah, it was just, for me, it was definitely a great day.
Right. Well, and then when the music with you guys walking out was an instrumental Led Zeppelin song, right?
Absolutely. Yeah.
so the songs play, and Mike and I were sitting next to each other in the pew. And then as we're standing up, so Mike's actually standing in front of me, and, you know, the song starts playing, and I just kind of like snuck up behind the back of his head, and I'm just like, "Oh, darling, darling, darling," and he's like, shut the fuck up. But yeah, I just started singing Led Zeppelin in his ear.
Excuse me.
But no, it was fucking beautiful. Yeah, because again, not everyone knows that, but both Michael and Megan are huge Led Zeppelin fans, so it was appropriate, but it was beautiful. The whole day was beautiful. It was wonderful, and it was again, November 16th, you know, so a day when it could have been freezing, but I don't remember it being like, it got colder at night, but I mean the service itself, I think it was a nice day, if I remember correctly.
It was overcast, but yeah, it was definitely like 50 degrees. It was, for Ohio, it was great. Right. We definitely got lucky.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah. Especially at that time of year. So, okay. So both of y'all sobered up. She finally ran you down, got married. and then we're
let me say, I wasn't running too fast from her. I was going to let her catch me.
You're like, ooh, cramp. I got a cramp. But then we're playing poker one night, and we got another surprise, right? Michael?
Yeah, that was beautiful, man. The cards.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember the shirt. I don't remember.
Really? You don't remember the cards?
No.
The card, a card was dealt that it said something about there's a baby on the way.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
We're all sitting around and we're like, oh, shit.
Right. And I had to, yeah. Yeah, you know, I guess we planned it.
Yeah.
I mean, it didn't happen on accident. I mean, like I said, I'm 44, she's 8, so I was 36.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and Megan, she's was 34, and I probably shouldn't have said that on here, but whatever.
She'll get over it.
And I'm like, I don't want to be working when I'm 70.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and she didn't either. So we're like, let's have a child. And you know, she's great. She's a pain in my ass, but she's great. And then everyone's like, oh, you got to have another one. They'll keep each other occupied. That's a lie. Let me just tell you, that's a lie. That's it. It's a lie. But no, they're really both great. And I mean, I just can't say how blessed I've been.
Right.
You know, I'm like a normal like person,
Mm-hmm.
and like that what you would see in like in the movies or something. Just the family that seems perfect. Obviously, we're not, but
Mm-hmm.
None of us are.
there's nothing I would change. Nothing, absolutely nothing.
Right.
And you know, and since we met, I mean, we've walked with each other through this whole process, and um, you know, she's got on me about things that haven't done. You know, as far as recovery and like you need to go to a meeting or whatnot, and and I do the same to her.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, Other than that, I mean, our sobriety lives are they're pretty separate.
Right.
Right. Yeah, yeah, but you keep yourself accountable, which
Oh,
is what
absolutely.
we all do to each other, you know, to one
Right.
degree or another. Yeah, you
That's-
just happen to have it in house.
Right, and then
in-house
I
counsel.
can't say well, and I can't say no. That's just
Right.
that's against the rules.
Well, let's put it this way: you could, but with possible consequences.
Right, but I mean, like what we talked about earlier, she said do something, and I just want to be like, I think about it in my head, no, but I say
Right.
okay.
Right. Because yeah, right, practicing these principles in all of our affairs. Absolutely. You know, right. This is the shit we have to do no matter what, you know. You
Mm-hmm.
suggested to do something or told to do something, and you know, yeah, I don't want to, fuck you, but I'm going to do it.
Right.
Yeah, right. And our lives are better for it, and we know that deep down.
Right.
You know, it's our brains, our stupid thoughts, are, you know, that fuck you that we think instantly.
Mm-hmm.
We know that that's wrong. We know to just get up off our ass and do what we need to do, and our lives are better for it. We know that.
And
So it's, you
everybody
know,
else's is too.
Right.
exactly.
Well, and that's the thing too that and Mike and I have talked about that on here, and whether it would be him or anyone specifically from our whole group, if anyone ever made a suggestion to me when it came to my recovery, I would take it seriously because I know that again, all you guys would have whatever it was, you'd have my best interest in mind, and
Mm-hmm.
and Mike and I have spent a ton of time together and lived together in the same room, had the place together,
Mm-hmm.
the whole bit. And we say it every once in a while. We'll bring it up that, I mean, he and I have never been in any sort of argument, tiff, anything like that, and which is weird, but in a good way, But
All right.
I've never taken anything. He's never said anything to me, and I don't think he would say anything to me that would intentionally try to hurt me. I don't think he'd ever
Mm-mm.
try to intentionally hurt me. And even if it hurt, or I didn't want to hear it, I would know for a fact he was doing it to try to help me, not hurt me. So
Mm-hmm.
that's a cool thing. And I mean, I have not been in, any sort of long-term relationship since I've been sober, and no sort of relationship for a long term with somebody who had long-term sobriety, who's at where I've been in that position where somebody's, been able to, in a position to give me a suggestion like that. That might be a little
Right.
weird, maybe in a husband-wife situation, but I think that, hopefully with that next thing, the fact that you got the sobriety there on top of that makes it, again, that one way or the other, that other person has the, your best interest and our best interest in mind,
Mm-hmm. 100%.
So unless she's really pissed at you and just like, get out of my sight, go to a meeting.
Oh, that happens.
Yeah.
And
Well,
it's my
sure.
fault. It's
But
definitely my fault.
But then at that point, I'd be like, I'm more than happy to go to a meeting. you're probably
Right.
fine. You're probably fine to go to a meeting.
Right.
But so in the kids come along, and you guys were still when Emma was born, you were still in the apartment. Am I correct, or when did you buy the house afterwards? Yes?
Oh no, she got pregnant. We were in the apartment,
Right.
and then we bought the house December of 14, and she was born in May of 15.
Oh, okay.
Right.
I couldn't remember which happened first, but yeah.
Nope,
So you
we
guys
moved you out there before the kid came.
Yeah,
Yeah, and thankfully
snow.
I had moved
Yeah.
out. I had moved out already. That was one thing I did get a chance to help out with. Which, sorry about that.
that's
No, you're
great.
not.
Well,
Yeah,
here's
no
the thing.
kidding.
Here's the thing. We talked about this before. Would I have wanted to? No. Would I have been there? Yes. You know,
Absolutely,
I
you would
mean,
have.
that's
Right.
I'm being as honest as I can be. You know, I hate fucking moving. I don't like moving
Oh,
myself or
I hate
anybody
it
else.
too.
But well, that's the thing that
The best part was taking the couch out the
Oh,
second floor window.
yeah,
oh,
right.
I remember hearing about that. I remember hearing about
There's a picture.
that.
It's
Yeah, there
beautiful.
is. I don't see a lot of those. I don't have social media anymore, so I
Right.
don't
Right.
see a lot of those pictures anymore.
Well, and you know what? For the most part, with the exception of this fabulous podcast and all the stupid shit that we post, that's really funny though on Instagram. You're not missing much on social media. Social media is a fucking shit show, but you know it serves its purpose. I'm not on my personal Facebook page hardly at all. I mean, I pop in there once or twice a day just to kind of keep caught up on because there's still a bunch of our sober friends and family and things like that I'm connected with, but.
Right.
I spend very little time on my personal page, but I spend a lot of time on our Instagram page for the SoberNotMature stuff. And that can be, you know, that's a part-time job in and of itself, but a lot of it's fun. We've got a lot of great people on there, but yeah, social media is kind of it's a shit show pretty much. So yet, how long have you actually been off of? I haven't seen it on Facebook in a while, right? Has it been a while?
Oh God, it's been over 2.5 years, maybe.
I was going to
Has it
say, yeah,
really?
over 2 years.
Yeah.
Good for you.
Yeah, really,
Yeah.
really. You
I
know
just-
what? Kitty's mom, my first ex, she's never been on any social media, no Facebook, no Instagram, nothing. She's never been, which is crazy to me. But you know, because I mean, it seemed like everyone at least got on Facebook at the beginning. You know?
Yeah, I didn't have Facebook until I was already sober for over a year.
Right.
I mean, I don't even know when it came out, like 2009.
I think.
So I think I lasted 2 years
Right.
before I got it.
Well, yeah, I guess that's true. I didn't get it until I was like 9 months. Yeah, 10 months sober, I think.
Right.
But and to begin with, the only reason I got it was because I thought my plan was obviously to ultimately move back to Wisconsin, and only reason I was gonna, you know, keep in touch with you guys out there was my only initial purpose, and you know, then it turns into everything else. But yeah, it's social media. It's a trip. Yeah, every once in a while we get fun comments and things like that we'll read on here. So most of them are good, you know, but every once in a while we get some fucked up individual that'll comment about something, and some person has no sense of humor. You know, so then Mike and I will read off the comment and make fun of them.
Well, they just
Right.
they just must be mature.
Right? Yeah, exactly. Well, and that's the thing.
Awful way to live.
Right. It is.
If somebody even happens along, you know, and sees our page, they're sober, not mature. What do you expect?
Right.
I mean, really, you know,
Yeah.
it's just I don't know.
And that's the thing, man. I got sober. I didn't get sober to have like a boring life, you know. I got sober to have fun.
Right.
Yep.
You know, I treat people different. I don't drink, obviously. I take care of my family as best as I can, and you know, I'm gonna have fun. Damn
Right.
it. You know, it's yeah. I'm serious. It's you can't live that way.
Right.
You still gotta have fun. And I was
Absolutely.
at the end. I wasn't even having fun, anyways.
Oh,
Oh,
God.
right.
I was
Right.
miserable.
Lonely, dark, horrible. Exactly.
Right.
Right. Yeah. This is much better. You know, I'm comfortable, and hell, half the time I'm even happy.
Good.
I know.
I
Well,
don't want that.
and you know the thing.
Well, I just don't know how to handle it.
I know. You walk around with a smile all the time.
Right.
That's great.
What is this feeling?
I
This is
know.
strange.
Right.
Well, in the whole group of people that we have, and because I didn't get in on the whole poker playing thing right away, and then I moved back to Wisconsin shortly after that. But I mean, I don't know if I think people have, you know, since I've been, you know, or since we've been doing this thing, you know, we talk about that going back. I don't even think I've been back for poker more than a couple of times in the last year and a half. But that's a big deal to me. I love it because number one, to begin with, and I remember the first game that I got invited to when you guys still had your apartment. And somebody's like, the buy-in's $15, and I'm like, $15. And I mean, I hadn't played poker in years, but I know the concept. I wasn't necessarily ever a good poker player,
Right.
but I'm like, fuck it, man, it's $15. So I'm betting and I'm raising it every single one. I was fucking out in like 30 minutes. I mean, literally
Right.
fucking done. And I remember Bree was next to me. She's like, why do you keep raising? God damn it. I'm like, what does it matter? It's $15. I kind of lost lost the whole concept of it. And then
Mhm.
now I don't think I've necessarily gotten any better. I play smarter. That's all, And
Right.
I don't bet every goddamn hand, and I certainly don't raise everything. I've always understood the concept, but it's not even about that. It is, it's great to walk out there with a little bit of money. It's great to hang out when you're down to the last handful of people at least. But it's a wonderful thing that we do as a group, just a bunch of sober people, cracking jokes, acting stupid, and having fun. It's great.
Yeah, eating food and
Yeah. Yeah.
and I don't think anybody really had the concept in the beginning. That's why it's called symbols
Right.
Right. Well, yeah.
instead of suits.
Right.
Right. For those of you listening, right, we had some real novices when we first started, and some of the girl, who was it?
That was Kayla.
Yeah, that's right.
Oh, was
it
it?
was. Yeah, she didn't call them suits. She called them symbols. What do the symbols mean?
Right. Right. And then what was it? Over the river was another question. Like,
Right. Well, and I mean, it started so organically too, because you guys had a New Year's Eve party. That's where it started, at the apartment.
yeah.
Yeah, right. And we started playing another game first. I don't even remember it, but I know it was kind of fun.
Left, right, center, I think.
Yeah,
Or
yeah,
Screw Your
exactly.
Neighbor, one of the two.
Something like that.
It was definitely a learning curve because that first game it lasted to like 6 a.m. because we
Yeah.
kept allowing buy-ins and
Right.
we're old. We can't do this anymore.
you got right, and I've got 10 years on you, so
really
more than that, actually.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah, and I was there till 6 in the fucking morning playing poker, man.
Yeah.
It was.
The fucking birds start chirping. You're like, holy fuck! I haven't had this in a long time.
Yeah, exactly. I remember this situation. I don't like this.
Right. I think I'm gonna go to bed.
I don't. You know what? I don't even think I've. I'm trying to think of. I don't think I've stayed up all night since I've been sober that I can recall. I mean, something like that. I suppose I. Well, no, I wouldn't. I wouldn't even want to do that. That wouldn't be any fun for me to be up that fucking late because
No.
I would be such a crab. Because then I'd be like, okay, I got shit to do today, so I go home, get like 3 hours of sleep, and then be fucking miserable all day. So
Oh, I can't do it. There's no
Right.
way.
right. But no, I mean, poker's always been a lot of fun. And then when was that? Was that 6-7 years ago that we all three of us went to the casino when I was back for our anniversary weekend?
Yeah,
Has it been that long?
I think so. Yeah.
it's
We're gonna have to do that again.
Yeah.
5 years anyway, for sure.
Oh, I would say at least because that was again everything now pre-pandemic. That's 3,
Right.
In
Oh yeah.
2-3 years
Yeah,
before
and it
that.
was- yeah, right. So about 5.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we went down there, and as any good alcoholic and drug addict would do, we went down there and ate until we made ourselves sick.
Oh, it was.
Oh,
and
God.
what's the name
That
of
was
that
horrible.
casino? I always forget. The Jack's.
Jack's.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I was back in town, and it would have been for mine and Mike's anniversary. We're in April, and then Michael's in July, and
Yeah. I'm
we're
way behind.
yeah.
Yeah.
It almost doesn't even matter anymore. I mean, I
I
always, well, even
No.
even to this point, I mean, I always say that Mike and I are sober the same amount of time, unless I feel like fucking with him about the 4 days.
Yeah.
But so I remember I wanted to go. I'm like, let's go do something. Let's go eat. And I was thinking just some like, I don't know, all you can eat. I don't know, whatever buffet type of thing. And then I don't even know how it came out that we went to the casino, but she gave us a deal too. She gave us like
Right.
I don't know if we were like some gold club or casino member. So rather than paying like $35, we paid like $28, which is still kind of a lot of money. But until you see the fucking spread of food they have,
Oh, it's
Mhm.
ridiculous.
I was like, oh my God. And they had every type of, from Italian food to Asian food to steak to American. I mean, hamburgers, steak, prime rib. I mean, like steaks. They had steaks, right? If I'm remembering
Mhm.
correctly.
Oh, they had
Yeah.
everything.
Yeah, they had
Yeah.
fucking everything. And we did, all three of us. We just kept fucking going back up, eating, coming back, going back up. And we all went out front. And Michael, I don't know if you were still smoking at the time, but I know Mike and I went outside to have a cigarette. And literally, I'm walking out the door, and I felt like I wanted to cry. I hurt so bad. I mean,
Oh, it's horrible.
I'm standing there, and I'm like, I think I want to lay down. That's the only way I'm going to feel better, because I've been full before, but I don't think I've ever been that fucking full.
Oh, but I mean, you spent $28. You're trying to get your money's worth,
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
right. I'm going to eat $40 worth of food.
right? And it was damn good.
Oh,
Mhm.
it was crazy good. And then we're like,
Yeah.
oh, we'll go back in there and play. And then we saw Marty there. We saw Indo there and his wife. We
Yeah.
saw a couple other people. Michelle, I think, was there with Marty. But
Mhm.
yeah, it was a great time. It was a lot of fun. We
Mhm.
should do that again.
Yeah.
Coming up in April. We'll do that.
Got me in.
It's a date.
All right. I'll make sure it's okay with the wife.
Yeah, that's fine.
She won't care.
Right.
Anytime I got things to do with a couple people in my life, and you are two of them, she says go.
Well, if she knows, at least she could trust us, right? Well,
Absolutely.
Right.
she knows who we are. That's all that it is.
Right.
She can't necessarily trust us, but so as you were kind of going through and all those sort of things, and Mike and I talk about a lot of different stuff. I mean, just things that pop off the top of our heads, but I don't know, anything you want to share as far as any struggle moments, any tough moments, anything that you do to kind of keep your head straight, anything sobriety related that you've learned over the years, things that have helped you or hurt you or whatever. I don't know. It's your time, I guess, is the way what I'm trying to say. You know.
I mean, it's some struggles. I mean, I think I was 2 years sober at the time, and my grandmother passed, and that was hard.
Right.
And her funeral ended up being, it was in West Virginia, and all my family are there. They're drinking, and but I mean, I didn't necessarily want to drink or anything like that. It's just dealing with something like that and not drinking.
Right.
Mhm.
It was always, well, I got to get drunk,
Sure.
or this or that. I these feelings, I can't feel this. I'm not
Right.
dealing with this. So that was probably the first time I ever had any kind of life event to come up to where I had to really sit back and think. But yes, struggling. It's. I mean, I live a simple life. I guess recently at work, with this whole issue 2 thing here in Ohio, a lot of guys are like, are you gonna start smoking? And I'm like, God, I'm 40, about to be 45 years old. I really don't have a desire. It's been so long, and it's just, I just got so many people I could call. So yeah, I mean, I don't really, as far as any type of struggles or anything, no, I mean, obviously Megan and we've had our issues, but yeah, it's just, I just constantly using that phone when I can.
Right. Yeah.
Right.
Using the tools that we were
Absolutely.
taught. Right. Yeah. And,
Right.
and struggles. I mean, that was one of the things that we were taught real early on. Fucking surrender, man. The first step, powerless. Don't stop trying to control shit. It's just going to let it flow, let it happen. It's going to happen anyway. We walk through it. It's never as bad as we think it's going to be. And we're on the other side of it. We're still sober, and life goes on.
Right.
Yeah.
It's not that tough. It's really not.
Right. I mean,
when we stop struggling, when we stop fighting against it, all of it,
Right.
not just the substances, but life itself, I don't fight against it anymore. I mean, I still get frustrated at little things and whatever, but But they're little things. And again, I know it's going to pass like it has in the past. They didn't lie to us, man. They said, no, you walk through it and you'll be fine. And son of a bitch, I walked through it and hey, I'm pretty good on the other side.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, and that is the craziest thing, and we've talked about that. I don't even know how many times. That little bit of faith and a little bit of hope. Is that all that we need half the times. And like you said, with the struggling part of it and using the phone, and Mike and I mean, it doesn't happen that often, anymore. But a lot of times, before we get on here, if there's something that we need to talk about that's has no business being on this fucking podcast, we'll talk about it real quick,
Right.
Everything else we just talk about on here. So
right, which is why we started this thing.
Yeah.
Because I mean, we're going to meet every Friday night and run our gums for an hour or two, and
yeah. And that's the honest to God truth about why we started this was, well, first of all, listening to other podcasts, I'm like, we can fucking do that, can't we? Just fucking run our mouths into a couple of microphones. And he's like, yeah, we can. So
Yeah.
But yeah,
why not?
Yeah, to start off, we treated this, and we still do, as to begin with, it was kind of like we're going to get together and like have a meeting, not necessarily a formal meeting, but like Mike said, run our gums for an hour about whatever the fuck we feel like. And then we started just telling stories, and then had a couple of people approach us to be guests, and completely just turn it into just this. We talk about whatever the fuck we want. If it's not all sobriety stuff, most of the time it is. We try to get sobriety shit in here, but
right, kind of like the way we run our lives.
Yeah, it's right. I'll tell you though, this has been a for me, and I think for Mike also, but for me, 100%. This has been a huge outlet for me and a huge tool, to be able to, number one, to just get shit off my chest and have us talk about it, talk through stuff. And last week we were telling this one story about this guy that we knew, and I couldn't stop laughing. I haven't laughed so hard as I have in this podcast in fucking years. But the other thing too is then we started here and there that people were kind of catching on to what we were talking about, or it was kind of helping people, and we're like, fucking really, how did that help somebody? You don't know what you say that's going to help or maybe piss people off, and surprisingly, we haven't really pissed off a lot of people. At least they haven't said anything. So, and if they did, our attitude is fuck them, don't listen. So,
right.
and literally, that's to begin with. I thought we didn't know how we were going to be. Then we're like, fuck it, we don't care. We don't care what people think. We don't care if people like what we're going to say. We're just going to fucking talk. That's it. Done.
That's it. It's simple.
Yeah. And it is. It's just we've had so many just nice conversations and shit. I mean, it's not that when we're all together that we don't have a chance to sit and shoot the shit. But, you think about whether it's the Keating Center event that we were at. You and I talked for probably 5 or 10 minutes. I think when we were watching the raffle tickets or whatever the prizes get, called off. You shoot the shit for a few minutes there. We're playing poker. We're all talking. I mean, when's the last time that the three of us have been able to sit down and, talk for an hour? It's been forever, So it's cool.
Right. Absolutely. And, it's the Keating Center. It's just, I owe everything to that place.
Yeah.
I can't do enough for him.
Right.
Yeah.
I try to get to every event and, help out when I can. And it's one person that I will always definitely answer the phone for, and that's Marty.
Oh, shit.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Yeah.
For sure.
Right. Scared not to.
Still. Yeah.
Well, it was like a year and a half ago, because I think it was in, I don't know, whatever it was at least a year and a half ago. I was still in Wisconsin at the time, and I was at work, and it's not like I couldn't have my cell phone out at my desk, and I did, and I saw the phone's ringing, and it's Marty, and I'm like, oh, fuck me, and I couldn't answer it in the office, so that's one thing I couldn't do. So I went outside and I called him back. I'm like, I'm sorry, Marty, I'm at work. I said, hey, what's going on? He's like, nah, no big deal. He goes, you're going to write an article for us for the Keating Center website, talk about this. Email Katie about this. She'll give you the idea. You're going to do that for us. I'm like, okay, thanks, Marty. All right, bye. Click. And I mean, that was the extent of my conversation. But same deal. I saw his name come up. I'm like, fuck me. What's going on? Marky doesn't call me,
Right.
But yeah, it was an
and
honor.
if he does, it's because he wants something, and we're more than willing to give it to him.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember when we were trying to move? We were moving furniture out of John and Gale's, and
Mm-hmm.
we wanted to use the van. And he said, "Okay,
Mm-hmm.
but didn't he make us do a Costco run or something like that?"
Yeah, he did.
He's like, he could use the van, but he goes, "You put gas in it before you bring it back, and you need to do a Costco run for me first."
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's what it was. We were picking up furniture to actually donate to the Keating Center from
Right.
from John and Gail's house. He's like, "Yeah, but you got to do a Costco run while you're using
Right.
it." It was great, But
Yeah.
again, I mean, it's given the opportunity. The only time we ever told him no is when he wanted us to move back into the Rock after they were closing down Cecilia, and we kindly declined. We didn't even say no.
We did.
Right.
But
Yeah, it was
I mean,
time.
yeah. Oh,
Yeah,
God,
it was.
Yeah.
I mean, at that point, I mean, that would close in end of August or beginning of September, right?
Yeah, because we moved
When-
into our place over on whatever road that was. Baltic. Beginning of October. So yeah, I think it was September. Yeah, we had to be out of there by the end of September, I think. So
Right.
Yep.
and we figured out we were given Mike, 2 weeks, 2.5 weeks?
We
something
were.
like that.
Mm-hmm.
That's a little pressure for you.
Yep.
Yeah, we got that place all nice, cleaned up, nice,
Yep.
looking
Oh
good.
yeah. Absolutely. Then the women moved in and wrecked it.
All right.
Yeah, that's what I heard. Well, that's what
What do you-
chicks do. They just wreck everything. Isn't that
They
what we
do.
heard? All right,
I
so
ain't saying nothing.
I know. That's why I figured I was gonna like ease you out of that part of it. But so anything else you wanna say, you wanna add? Any bits of information? I'd say advice, but I know you're not going to give people advice necessarily. Anything else you wanna say to people, Michael?
I mean, I just no, I don't. I just want to thank you guys for having me on, and it's. I think this is great. To get people involved and to listen to just. I mean, this is fun.
It is.
Yeah.
Sobriety
why we
is
do it.
fun. Once you get through the hard part and it's just life is good. And I've never laughed so hard in my life since I've been sober.
Right.
And most of the time it's not at myself anymore,
Right.
but it's with people. It's not at people or
Mm-hmm.
being laughed at. It's laughing about something with somebody,
Mm-hmm.
Right. And I just think it's great.
Yep. As we always say, not a glum lot, right?
Absolutely.
All right. Well,
Right.
but seriously, I mean, thank you, Michael, obviously, for coming on here. And I know we were giving you a little bit of shit for saying that we had to chase you down for the longest time, but we know you're
No,
busy.
it's-
But no, I mean, we really, really appreciate it. So yeah, I think this will play well, and we've talked about you enough and on other episodes. So I know people enjoy the conversation. But now it's time again for you and I, Michael, to be quiet because Mike gets to run us out of here.
I do. Well, thank you everyone for listening to another episode of Sober Not Mature. Thank you, Michael, for coming on. Like we've said, man, we've been doing this thing together the whole time. You're a part of our life. We're a part of yours. It's just a beautiful thing, man. So it's a great example for the people out there. We make these lifelong friendships in the rooms, and then we take it outside of the rooms and we live our lives together. And it's just a great thing. So, as always, be kind to each other, be good to each other, do something nice for somebody else this week, and don't tell anybody you did it. And now it is time, kids. It is that time you've been waiting for. It is time for you to fuck off. Then keep fucking off. Keep fucking off till you get to a gate with a sign on it saying you cannot fuck off past here. Climb over that gate, dream the impossible dream, and keep fucking off forever.
That's just so you know, Michael. That's Mike's favorite part of the episode. Mine too. I enjoy the hell out of it.
I knew, as soon as he said it, I knew it.
Because I know if nothing else, you've heard that he does that. And then when you listen to the episode, tomorrow, even if you don't listen to the whole thing right away, Michael, listen to the end. These one individual that we had 2 individuals on a few months ago, and she's a drummer and has all this equipment and shit. She took that reading and did this whole beat thing to it. And that's how we put that at the end of our episode now.
It's the Fuck Off remix.
Oh, yeah, the Fuck Off. It's beautiful. It's fucking beautiful. Yeah, she did a great job. Her name is Breeze, and we should thank her more. I posted it, I don't know, a week or so ago on Instagram and thanked her again. But, yeah, she did a great job for us. But, all right, you know what? Enough rambling from all of us. But, Michael, once again, thank you. Both you guys. I love both you guys, and I'm sure we will talk to you all soon.
Too.
All right.
Love you all, too.
All right. Bye.
Bye-bye. Thank you.
Bye. And now it is time for you to fuck off. Then keep fucking off. Keep fucking off until you get to a gate with a sign on it saying you cannot fuck off past here. Climb over that gate, dream the impossible dream, and keep fucking off forever.